Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Afterparty, where we are finally in peak blackberry harvesting season. And it's very appropriate considering the 3 episodes we're talking about today kicked off with Brandon getting a boon from a dragon, specifically a blackberry dragon.
What up?
Son of a bitch.
It's me, the Dragon Man.
No.
Now, Brandon, did you expect that being kind to a primordially old and unfathomably powerful creature may work in our favor?
Yes, because growing up, anytime I met a old person who had little care for the people around him, every time I was nice, it always worked to my advantage. So, I figured this time. What I'm saying is I have no respect for my elders.
Brandon, I know we're going to talk a lot about Texas because there is a bunch of questions about Buc-ee's.
God damn
but
it.
I did think you were going to be like, well, every time I met a horse, I was nice to it. And that was the same.
And that worked out great for me.
That is true. Every time I meet a horse, I'm like, you are the largest dog and I love you.
That's why Brandon is swimming in boons.
And what if a horse turned to you and it was like, life is pain?
I would be like, you are my best friend now.
My legs, they're like fingernails to you.
Here is a sugar cube.
Nom, 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 nom. I just would like to say here in the beginning of the after party, we have recorded, or will have recorded, from the days of...
Your
Future past.
Hold on. From the days of future past. In 22 days, from September 10th to October 2nd, we have recorded 9 times. Probably a 10th one because there's a party planning in there that I didn't account for because I'm not doing it. But I also prepared 8 of them. So my head is melty, so everyone has to be super nice to me. I've felt crazy. I have felt like a crazy person.
Why, Eric? Did the stories inside your head start, reaching the outside world in a way you didn't expect?
Yeah, like a 2000s indie rock music video. It feels like I'm experiencing something like that. Yeah.
Out of my head?
Yeah. It's like number 5 on the VH1 best music videos of that week.
Yes. This is making sense to me now, where in the music video, the person will be singing about love and then little cartoon drawings will appear in the actual situation.
Yeah, 2000s ass CGI coming out of my head, which are the things that I'm doing.
Plain
here.
white tees, is that anything? Is that what I'm thinking about?
It feels like an All-American Rejects music video.
That's also something.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Move Along music video, but with more CGI of things coming out of my head.
In contrast, I have had to edit episodes while also losing some time due to recording. But instead of being nice to me, I really am fueled by your insults and hatred and meanness towards me.
Perfect.
It makes me edit faster. So if
That's
you
great.
could just be a real big jerk to me, that would be great.
I do realize I yelled at you many times in these episodes.
Yeah,
Brandon.
Brandon, I also called
Many
you a
times.
bitch twice in the first 10 minutes of episode 55, a word I tend pretty much not to use unless it's bitch to my other queer friends. But anyway, has that been helping?
Yeah, it has. Every time I hear it, I edit 3 times faster.
Whoa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like Sonic on a boost pad. You're like, burr, 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 burr.
All right, well, we have a lot to get through today. Some great questions about the world and about journeying toward the end of the campaign. We don't know when the campaign will end. We haven't played our final episode, but we're getting there. We're on what will probably be our final arc, all of us here together with the start of Mango Crossing. So, God, I can't believe it. I'm so
I don't
excited.
like
I don't know why, but when you said that, I immediately thought you meant the final arc of our lives, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Not all of us. That's just Umbi.
No, I meant us as people, Julia.
Umbi and Brandon are the same, which
That's
is
true.
something I've realized. When you punch Brandon, he does smell like green peppers.
Mm-hmm. And when Umbi dies, Brandon will die.
Have you guys, this is a little bit unrelated, but have you guys watched or started the newest season of Taskmaster that came out on YouTube?
No.
So it's great, you should. But there's a comedian on there that his I don't know who it is, but he's a British comedian whose comedy is about being sort of it's not anti-comedy, but he's sort of being the straight man kind of grump in the room.
Sure.
And more and more I watch this guy, I was eventually at 2 episodes in, I turned to Lauren and I was like, this guy is me. I am him. We are the same.
The funniest thing about the UK with entertainment is that there's only 6 actors and all of them are in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And yet there is so much space for so many different type of comedians that it blows my mind. I think because they just have different job classes. Like, you could subclass into just being, like, on game shows. Like, the presenter job is so wild to me, and then you can just be, like, a dude who hangs out.
Yeah, man. We should mold you, Britain.
No, because then we'll always be ostracized. Much like a rich person thing, being a part of the British royal family. We can never get in. It's just the curse of our birth, Brandon, that we can't be involved there.
Jack D is his
All right,
name. Wait, Amanda. Eric hit my trap card. I do have to quickly say that my dad just texted me right before we started recording here to say, quote, "The number of rich people things your friends don't think were rich was hilarious."
Tom!
Thank you, Tom.
I knew Tom was a patron. I didn't know he watched the content.
He
Thank
listens
you,
to
Tom.
everything. He was insulting you guys. I don't want to say thank you.
I'd love to be insulted by Texan men.
I'm fine with it. He had the same experience as Brandon, so he's insane.
He grew up in the Midwest, so
Yeah.
it's even worse.
Let's address this right off the bat. So lots of feedback from the populace about how gloves are not, quote, for rich
Hold
people.
on. Everyone needs to listen to the Patreon. Everyone sign up for our Patreon. The most recent episode of Party Planning, either at the audio level for $5, video level for $10. For this one, at least hop up there at the $10 level. It's probably the best party planning we've ever done.
Might be the best thing we've ever made. I'm not going to lie to you. And I really enjoyed it a lot. You have got to check it out, including the primordial question, the primeval question even. Are gloves for rich people? Now, you might think the answer is obvious. No matter what you think, the answer is represented in this party planning. So you've got to go ahead and check it out. We did get a comment from Debbie about the party planning, which I present to the full audience in a hope to sort of entice you up to party planning level. Debbie, quote, "I can think of other things for people that mean they're rich. A pot filler, a dishwasher, a washer dryer, and a panel-ready fridge to blend with the cabinets." Now, that last one, absolutely true. The rest, buck wild. Thank you, Debbie. And I look forward to including some of these in our Rich People Bracket Part 2.
Pot filler definitely is one, I will say. But not because it's difficult or like expensive to install, but it's just like a class signifier, you know?
Yeah, it's a new trend, and that means you have to have renovated your kitchen in the past 3 years.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just like
I can't be bothered to step 3 steps to the sink, so this is what I'm going to do.
But also pot heavy when carrying big pot of water, Brandon.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
true.
All right, folks, back to the content. Now, I brought it up in a fun way, but Brandon, did you think twice before using your boon from a dragon on rescuing the siblings of an NPC?
I mean, yeah, like that's not what I wanted to use them for, you know, but like we had a kid to make with Cervantes.
You had a kid to make with Cervantes. Those babies would be so prickly.
Oh, that would hurt so bad. We had a deal to make with Kid Cervantes, and that deal was to get his siblings back. And so if I want that cloud key, which I do, I got to waste my boon getting their silly butts out of the dragon, you know?
That's fair. I think it's pretty funny. And I think primordial creatures don't understand it. That it's like, if you give someone a boon...
Only primordial creatures understand this.
30 things 90s kids and primordial creatures understand. That if you give someone a wish or a boon when they're in danger, they're going to use it immediately to take away the danger.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair.
So, like, totally fair. I thought that was great. It made a lot of sense to me, especially because Kid Cervantes would have had a real emotional problem if that wasn't dealt with.
Right. And, you know, the problem is when you have a boon when you're in danger, the boon doesn't mean anything if you're dead later. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's why you should spend all of your money immediately.
Yes.
It's no good too if you're dead later.
Exactly right. That's the time value of money. You guys have passed my test.
This podcast has just been role-playing personal finance.
Here's a question from N.A. Nicole. How long did you know Audrey was a key? Was she a key all along? It wasn't even a thought that crossed my mind until it was revealed. So what is Nicole talking about here? That Audrey herself may in fact be a key, or that she's working with the rotten key?
I think may I tell my theory, Eric, and then you can tell me if I'm wrong?
Pulls.
Now, you remember when Eric did a cool little plug at the end of an episode about the ooze that was inside Audrey crawling into the key mold at the bottom of the sea?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I do remember that.
I think that is what the rotten key is the key that mold
Oh.
created out of the zombie goo that was out of Audrey.
Of course, Julia. Did you just remember this, or have you been thinking about this the whole time and neglected to tell your player characters?
Well, when he said, like, oh, the rotten key, I was like, I know exactly what that is, because you did a cool little plug at the end of the episode.
And Brandon and I said, wow, a whole new key.
Wow, a whole key from nothing!
It is technically a whole new key, but...
It connects to nothing. It is brand new and doesn't matter that we didn't think about anything else.
Uh-huh.
Julia, is it a theory if it's backed up by explicit text? Who can say?
I mean, it's a theory the way that evolution is technically a theory,
There you
know?
I just love it when you guys come to me with headcanons. They're like, all right, here's what I think happened. I'm like, well, that would make sense because of the text.
Here's my head.
That would make sense because of the thing I said.
It's a headcanon in that you used your head and used the gray matter to analyze text. Yeah, absolutely right.
Thoughts as little cannons when you think about it. All those electrons crossing the blood-brain barrier. Incredible. You see the distance between Amanda and Troy is shrinking over time.
Shrinking.
Library Chick asks, is the rotten key working with Audrey? I've got to assume that what connects the rotten key to Audrey is like a bond that is unbreakable.
Well, we also don't know kind of what happened to Audrey. We know that we kind of sent her away. This goo thing sort of took over her. I don't even know if the like sentience of Audrey still exists.
Fair.
Right. Or at least like the malicious spirity thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know? I also don't think we know. I think it's probably a good guess that they're in league or something like that, but like we don't know for sure that maybe the goo made this key, the rotten key, and like you know, my child decided to rebel against me, you know.
No, I think goo is key. Goo crawled into key.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But if Audrey was working or worked to help create this key somehow or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean they're still working together at this point, you know.
I think the horde of zombies riding with the rotten key is a good indicator, but that's just me.
I know. I'm saying we could be either way, Gulia, and you are also the
we're wrong.
Gulia.
But I think that's a good supposition.
Yes.
Eric, anything to add here? Or is that a who can say?
Yeah, my favorite part about Buc-ee's is how there's brisket sandwiches and they make them for you right in front of you. I think that's pretty cool.
My favorite part about Bucky is how much he loves Cap and how much their friendship is strong. with
Wow,
each
stolen bisexual valor from your partner, the coffee ghost. JK, I'm not gatekeeping shipping. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Thunderbolt's asterisks because Bucky is going to be in Buc-ee's and that's going to be pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
All right, folks, let's journey into episode 54, the final skill tree. Can I tell you, I had a little tear to my eye when the episode description Eric wrote for this episode 54 was, we've grown our tree and now it will bloom.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So cute.
Too sad.
And soon it will die.
No, that's not how tree work.
Brandon, I don't know if you're as good as gardening as you've been letting on. I think maybe it sounds like good.
Can I tell you this thing that I did to ruin Lauren's life?
Oh,
Absolutely.
sure.
Yes,
absolutely.
100% I want to hear that.
So don't take. I'm not a master gardener. I just read the stuff and look stuff up on YouTube. But I read and whatever about trees where the top parts of their roots need to be exposed because that is also part of their like the trunk system where they take in
How
oxygen.
they breathe. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but a lot of people will cover that right up to the trunk with mulch or whatever. And the stuff I read was like, eventually, may not be quick, but eventually that tree will die if it doesn't have its roots.
You didn't tell Lauren that all trees are slowly drowning, did you?
And I told Lauren this, and then as we were in Texas, we were driving around, and I was like, that tree is going to die. That tree is going to die. That tree is going to die. That tree is going to die.
Brandon Grugle, can I tell you something?
What?
Jake taught me that same fact. And every time he calls them tree volcanoes.
Yeah.
Where they like pile up the
do.
mulch, like kind of like a volcano around the tree. Every time he sees one, he goes, tree volcano was going to die.
It's going to die.
Is this the Roman Empire of straight men that I didn't know about?
Yeah.
I think
guess so.
finally understand male privilege.
Yeah.
It's the male privilege of cursing their female partners with this knowledge.
Honey, thanks for not saying that to me and instead sending me every image of Mudang that you find on your timeline. There's all kinds. There's all kinds out there.
Yeah.
You know, if Moodang's roots don't get exposed to water or air.
Yeah,
That's why she always looks so wet.
Yeah, that's why Moodang always in pool.
Last night I did the feminine ritual of moisturizing myself to the point that I felt vaguely uncomfortable and sticky. And I said, "Look, Eric, I'm just like Moodang."
Yeah, you are. You are, girlfriend. You are like Moodang.
Incredible.
All right, folks, let's get this train back on track, okay? Okay, we're veering off in the wrong direction. Episode 54, the skill tree. Eric, would you please give us a snapshot in where our skill tree ended? Because despite the excellent jokes that Julia made in the hopes that it would be true, we cannot, in fact, pause 100% our skill tree and then continue with the mission.
And rude to imply that we could.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my fault. I'm sorry that I said something funny like that. Yeah, so here's where we ended up with the skill tree. You have done 2 of the dig and rolls, 2 of the 6 of the dig and rolls.
Rip.
We already know what happened with Havana Tropicana with Doctor.
Because we can never do the dig and rolls ever again, Eric, can you tell us what the other 4 things are?
I do have them. I will tell you, yes.
I want an epilogue where we return to the hold and all we do is dig and rolls and befriend the crib.
Well, that is assuming we survive.
You're going to get some DLC.
Julia, when we survive and have a lot of free time, why do you guys keep saying that?
Post-game DLC, okay. You did one of the Magnolia Network. That one really didn't bear out because I think we kind of took ourselves away from the hold. But I think that there was a version of when you guys did the puppet show where like we could have had an entire arc on the island of like things going bad in the hold when things could have went bad, which is what the Magnolia Network was for. Now all the buildings were like sturdier. You did none of Lords in the Manor. None of Monster Wrangler, even though that was such a massive part of the beginning of this campaign, which I find that very interesting.
Yeah, we really thought we had more time with that big crab.
Yeah.
You did the puppets, which we talked about. Only one of them, though. You never made it private or public, so it kind of
just felt wrong either way.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Ship shape was there. Your ship HP went up, and Harold did the bonus, which we've been talking about Harold doing bonus stuff lately. And, of course, we added Gloria. And we unlocked a few character backstories.
Yes, we did.
Harold's help has been absolutely incredible during this arc in particular, so I really appreciate that we chose that.
I would say Harold is the real hero, honestly. What are we doing? We do nothing.
Wow.
It's all about Harold.
Yeah,
Wow.
let's examine Harold and Syl for like 6 episodes. This is just like My Hero Academia, where like at the end we're like, let's see what the villains are doing. Let's see what the villains are doing.
What's up with this guy?
What's up with this guy? What's
Eric,
he
are
like
you saying
this?
that Harold is a villain?
Yes. Spoilers.
Wow.
Okay. Do you want to hear some of the stuff that I have written down here?
Why, yes, Eric, but Library Chick wants to know what something is on the skill tree we didn't see that you want to share. And Tinkerbeast wants to know what's the top thing on the skill tree that we players didn't get to do, but wish we could.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of interesting monster stuff that could have happened. I didn't really flesh it out because you never even turned it on. But, if you had wrangled that thing, we would have really figured it out and it would have been quite interesting. But I can talk about dig and roll for sure. So what you ended up doing, which I find so funny, and I've had written down since the beginning of the campaign, number 4 was nothing. Number 4 was nothing. That was the first thing Brandon rolled. And luckily, there was a note in there that said LOL. And at least you got to explore that note a little bit. And then, of course, number 1 was the lightning whip.
Nani's.
Huge for Nani.
Huge.
Huge for Nani.
Number 5 was bad. It was a mimic chest with a frog tongue that would have grabbed the first person to come within 10 feet.
Oh, that would have been so funny for
And do
Umbi.
what with it? Just chomp on him?
Yeah,
Eat 'em.
chomp down on them.
Oh,
That is funny.
And we would have
That
figured
would have
it
been
out.
so funny for Umbi. Oh my
It would have been
goodness.
really funny. Number 2 was a cursed treasure.
Eric, was there anything good in this fucking...
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a cool whip.
And
Yes,
first treasure.
4 out of 6 of them were good. 3 out of 6 of them were good. No, 3 out of 6 of them were good. So this one was cursed. It was called the Serpentine Horn. I got this from the Griffin Saddlebag, which is a really great. I was doing this around the OGL stuff too, so I was really into a lot of the third-party people. This was a horn that on a failed save, a creature can't move in a straight line and must zigzag back and forth, which I thought was kind of funny. There was also a 10% chance of the horn transforming into a giant snake and enrapturing you, which is why it was cursed.
Oh,
Cool.
no.
Maybe it's good we got nothing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, which
I
I thought.
mean, we didn't get nothing. We got a really sweet note that says LOL on
Yeah,
it.
and you got the whip, too.
Got a cool whip for an
Um,
octopus.
Number 3 was a good treasure. That was just neat treasure. That was called the Blowfish Armor. This was also from Griffin's Saddleback.
Cool.
Basically, it helped you swim, and then you could like puff out like a blowfish.
Oh, very cool.
Underwater, and it would have helped you swim. So if one of you fell in the water, you could have. It was like a life jacket. And this is the one that I wish we had gotten to. Number 6, there was a cave system under the island.
No. Fuck.
So you would have dug and found catacombs.
That is literally everything I want, everything I need, everything I didn't get.
Can we just replay until, like, we'll rewind to the point where Umbi first day rolls, and then
can I
he can
save
roll
come
6?
back to...
No,
I'll just
no.
open up
Sure?
No
my
way
save
you
file.
still have that. You have that autosave, Brandon. No way. Absolutely not. All I wrote was cave system under the island. I
Classic.
did not write anything else.
You would have had to figure
We
something
would just
out.
would have figured it out.
Damn.
I bet there's a bunch of crabs down there.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we get the big crab, is we befriend the little crabs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I was
works.
definitely prepared to have like an arc on the holds. And this,
Mm-hmm.
if you had found the cave system, we would have spent a few episodes down there, done a little mega dungeon. It probably would have involved the other pirates. I mean, we talked about this a little bit when we did that one with the puppet show of like the other pirates on the island are around and didn't like you, but Lucky Edie had quite a lot of sway over them. To do what she wanted, so that you guys didn't really interact with them on that level, and you almost like you ceded that to her pretty quickly.
Well, Eric, when we go on tour again and do some Campaign 3 live shows, I think a little dungeon crawl under the holds is a wonderful plot.
That would be cool.
That's pretty
That would
cool.
be
I didn't
fun.
even think of that.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So, of course, we also, in episode 54 in the skill tree, got Gloria to us, which was super, super helpful, and got some explanation as to what actually went down in South Compost City. So here's a question from Shelby. Did Gloria have an actual role in South Compost? Was she selected to go on the journey to find the cure, or did she go of her own volition? Great question.
My read was that she went on her own volition, but she obviously had some sort of role in that council thing.
Yeah, she's like a council person or something.
Yeah.
it seems
Yeah,
like.
I feel like I always have a tendency to say, like, this person's on the city council of the city. And
Mhm.
in my head, there was, like, an emergency council once the lycanthropy started of, like, here are all of the competent adults who have not been bit yet. That's what Amanda kind of, like, walked into, right? Or that's
Yeah.
what Troy blue skidooed into with the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And Gloria, in my head, Gloria was just like, all right, I'm going because you are all boulders now. To see you later. I don't want to be caught up in this thing. So I think she just kind of went because there was nothing else left for her. That was the other thing, was like she didn't know necessarily this happened. I think she left before the world government separated South Compost City and pushed it into the middle of the middle of Vertistello into the Great Salt Sea. So I think like that's why she was so surprised by everything that was happening. And like with that history check that Cammy made, it was like I don't like it when DMs do this because it's like, oh, have you ever thought about this? Or like you think it's almost like you take control of the character and like put the neurons together in their head.
Right.
But I really felt like I had to do that, especially because of the things you know now. It's like Gloria doesn't know this necessarily, but you now are like, oh shit. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't. Now I know enough to put all of this together with my natural 20.
I was just thinking about how
Julia
they-
said "you're" 3 times in this episode already.
I say that now. I don't know why.
I'm just thinking about how I was pondering how they would have broken off that piece of land to go into the ocean like that, and I'm realizing,
Big crab.
I was realizing that they could have used bombs.
I was just going to say, obviously, Brandon, it was bombs.
And then I was like, well, who the fuck is the other mad bomber?
You know.
Brandon, it
And
could have been Umbi, but with
was it Umbi?
amnesia.
No, it
With
could have been Dr.
amnesia.
Radish Radish.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he have that pamphlet all about one of your techniques
Yeah.
that we found in the maze?
Or we found your technique of bomb in the Divine Labyrinth.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with the pamphlet. That's right.
That's true.
Mm.
That's true. Good thing he's dead now.
I think Dr. Radish Radish might just have been like, or rather, Umbi is a reincarnation of Dr. Radish Radish, even though
I
he
mean,
never
that's
died.
definitely true, yeah.
Even though he never died.
I was
Dr. Rash Radish? No, he's dead.
The
Yeah,
title
but-
lives on.
No, we took that out. Oh, he just died. It was funny that he died. I was fine with it. I was thinking explosions too. I was thinking about a lot of different like Atlantis stories that are out there, and a version of that. It almost like this South Compost City thrived because it was on an isthmus or something like that. And it's just like blow up the land bridge and it's gone.
Yeah.
Nice. I posit still giant crab.
It could have been. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Yep.
Why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos?
Big
Very
crunch.
true.
There's probably like a secret document that you could have found in there that explained it, but it just
Probably.
wasn't. You just didn't see it.
I looked.
I want to give a special shout out to Julia reading Valda's Spire of Secrets and knowing the spell Clue, which was really, really funny.
I love that spell now. It's one of my favorite spells.
Yeah,
It was
it's good.
so fun.
I want to use it more in the future.
It was so good. And we did find something really important down there, even if it wasn't a secret document, which was Gloria's hammer. Eric, did you
Yeah.
imagine that we could find the thing itself? Or were you more planning on us to get something sweet, something juicy, etc.?
Yeah, I did want you to into the woods it a little bit to try to get some bonuses, put this together. But I think slowly as the Compost arc went on, because you were putting together the mystery of what to do and how to get out of there, and then Gloria's hideaway got revealed. I'm like, well, it's like we were able to flesh out the character of Gloria before you found the place. So it's like, well, now you know her, so now there's probably something in there. And then
Yeah.
it's almost like I got to put that in there, which felt really nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like I have these ideas, and because of what you all do, then I get to put it into action. I think there's a question about, like, what do I plan ahead of time or what sounds fun? And it's really a combination of both. Like, I don't think it's more about what is good prep or what is on the fly or what's improv. It's like, it's a real combination of just knowing the space and letting actions dictate what happens next.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that question you're referring to is from Emily, who writes, Eric, how much of the interrelated details do you plan out ahead of time versus, this connection would be sweet? Thinking specifically of the lycanthropy and Syl possible connection, to which Lyle from the internet replied, whichever answer is funnier at the time. Eric, probably.
Yeah. It's a combination of both, honestly. Like, what's funny at the time is like, oh, well, this actually does fit together. The whole thing with Syl is like, I don't even remember where I was going with that, but Syl definitely came from somewhere weird, and then we never touched it again, and then here we are. So I'm like, oh, this actually fits together really nicely. And I just love certain themes. I mean, in the last after party, we just talked about how I tease zombie plants in campaign 1. I'm like, I like the things that I like, and they come back around really nicely.
Yeah, I don't mean to speak for you, but I think there's a real power, I don't know what the word is, but a real advantage in just taking those opportunities as they present themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't let them pass by because you already had plans.
Mhm.
Exactly.
As they present themselves, dive into them.
There's a thing, I think, when someone, maybe people who make escape rooms or it's mystery novels, it could be either one, but someone said that a good tease or good foreshadowing means that 60% of your audience gets it when they see the reveal and 40% are surprised. That means that you did a good job seeding what happens here. So it's like there are things that I've set up here that you can all listen back to and see what I've been talking about this entire time. And when you say like what Julia just said to me about the key, it's like, you analyzed the text, congratulations. And that's good. I did my job. And it's about themes. Some things I set up and some things I don't, so that I don't go when you guys make choices, I'm not like, haha, shut up, you have to do the thing that I said. You see this all the time with Game of Thrones, how George R. R. Martin wrote himself into a corner. The TV show did something and it wasn't satisfying, and now he's stuck. The whole point of why we play Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop RPGs instead of writing plays and novels is because it should be malleable based on everyone's choices.
Yeah.
I just want to note that your sample size of 3 here is not representative because you do have an Amanda and a Brandon in it.
That is pretty close to the 60-40, though, if we think about it.
No, it'd be 33-66.
Yeah, but
Pretty close.
Kind of close.
We have
But
one
in
person who
reverse.
gets it
Yeah.
and 2 people who are like, whoa.
This is like in Jackbox when people vote for you and then the audience pushes it all the way to the other side. It's fine. I understand, it's fine.
Eric, was one of those clues you seeded a reference to The Fugitive? Because Blue Spectre points out that the wanted poster being, quote, in every outhouse, doghouse, chicken house is a reference to the movie, if they're not mistaken.
Oh yeah, everyone go watch The Fugitive, man.
It's great.
What a good movie.
Never seen it?
Brandon, it's so good. This is the premise. Harrison Ford is a very skilled surgeon, and then someone kills his wife. And he then goes on the run because he didn't kill his wife. In fact, he says, "I didn't kill my wife," a lot.
I don't care.
And then Tommy Lee Jones, young Tommy Lee Jones,
Young Jones.
He's never been young in his life.
never.
but okay.
This is the youngest he's ever been.
Yeah.
This role is a taciturn
Grizzled.
U.S. Marshal,
Yeah.
and he's awesome.
It's really good. A lot of good locations, a lot of like incredible hijinks. There's some social engineering. Highly recommend.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like there's some crime
There's
stuff.
conspiracy.
A lot of
It's great.
conspiracy, and it's all tied up in medical stuff, which is really funny to reflect on because it was made in the 90s. Here's what you need to know: Tommy Lee Jones, for this like hard charging action movie, won Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars.
That's awesome.
It's
Right?
incredible.
Add it to your list, Brandon.
This movie's incredible. It's so good, and everyone in the cast is top tier.
It also weirdly feels like a Lauren movie to me, so I feel like you guys should watch it together.
Yeah, I'm sure she would love it. Do you want to hear something that's gonna make you want to jump out a window? It came out 31 years ago.
Yeah, 93.
That's okay because I have no memories there.
Yeah.
You know?
I was just a babe. A literal babe.
It's when I am at a party with a child who is drinking. Child's 21. Okay, they're drinking. And he goes, "So what was it like to have been born before 9/11?" And I go, "Uh-oh."
Oh,
And then
go
I leave.
off, child.
Did you just yell Pipney at them and then run away?
I went, "Uh-oh."
It was really easy to go on planes, honestly. That's it.
Honestly, you
That's
could
it.
you could walk into an airport whenever you wanted, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was 9. I don't really remember that.
No,
I didn't appreciate it
I
then.
didn't appreciate it at all.
It was staggering. With that memory in the forefront of my mind, I'm going to go back to the kitchen to make sure I refill our snack tray.
Thank you.
Be right back.
Thanks, Amanda.
I didn't kill my wife.
I don't care.
Hey, it's Amanda. We have been cooking up some very exciting things for you here at Join the Party Land, and it reminds me of planning a surprise party. And I don't know about you, but I always get so stressed that the person will know or that things won't go well. But when you pull it off, when the person is like, "Oh my God, you did what?" It is like a rush unlike any other. And I hope and think that y'all are going to feel that way about some of the stuff that we have to announce. But first, I want to thank our newest patron, Spaghetti Sauce. We love you, Spaghetti Sauce. What an excellent name. Thank you so much for being a patron. And if you out there are trying to support Join the Party and you're excited about the announcement that we have coming out next week, yes, I know it'll be in next episode. We are so excited. A wonderful way to show us your support and help us continue making the show that we care about with all of the energy and time that we do is to join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/jointhepartypod. And in thanks, we give you stuff like our every other week podcast party planning, ad-free episodes, access to the Discord, and so much more. Check it out. This week at Multitude, I have had to take the train a lot, and one of my very favorite train podcasts is Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend, where astrophysicist Dr. Moya McTeer and comedian Corinne Caputo demystify space one topic at a time, with open eyes and open arms and open mouths from laughing and jaw-dropping so much. By the end of each episode, the cosmos will feel a little bit less scary and a lot more cool. Check out new episodes every Monday wherever you get your podcasts. We are sponsored this week by Volante Designs. If you are looking for clothing that makes you feel like a main character, like a badass, like the kind of person who, when someone notices you in a coffee shop and are like, "Nice jacket," you're like, "Thanks, I know," you gotta check out Volante Design, okay? If you go to volantedesign.us, they've been kind enough to make the code Join the Party for 10% off your whole order. Let's Join the Party, all one word, for 10% off your order of everything, whether that is like officially licensed apparel from series like Assassin's Creed, Devil May Cry, and Star Trek, and original collections like their vaguely cyberpunk and vaguely like modern ninja stuff. It doesn't look quite like cosplay gear, but it looks like you're the kind of cool person who might cosplay and you happen to be commuting on the train. Honestly, so incredible. So that's volantedesign.us, and the code is Join the Party. We are also sponsored by Tab for a Cause, the browser extension that lets you raise money for charity while just doing your thing online. Whenever you open a new tab, you see a beautiful photo and a tiny little ad, and part of that ad money goes toward a charity of your choice. Now, I really like Tab for a Cause, both because it lets me raise money for charity while browsing the internet, but also because the photos are so beautiful. It's kind of like the best of like a desktop screensaver type situation, but instead it just shows me a gorgeous photo of somewhere on Earth, and I'm like, wow, Earth is amazing. So join the party and help us raise money together at tabforacause.org/join the party. That's tabforacause.org/join the party. And now back to the after party. All right, folks, we have a selection of hand-dipped chocolate-covered fruits, a thing that is easier than you would imagine to do at home and much cheaper.
Ooh.
That's wild because I searched in every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, other house, and doghouse in that area, and I couldn't find it up to a checkpoint of 15 miles.
Wow.
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 It's pretty good.
Wow.
Wow.
I can just make chocolate covered pretzels. I just realized that.
You
I
could.
can just do that.
Yeah.
Do you got to do white chocolate?
No,
So
because
good.
I'm not a monster,
Oh,
Brandon.
no, Julia, it's so good.
No.
Now, is white chocolate a rich people thing?
No.
No.
No?
It's just bad.
It's like distinctly not. A rich people brain rot thing would be chocolate so dark that it is unpleasurable to eat.
Chocolate so
Yes.
dark that it's supposed to do good things for your brain.
Yeah.
No, you know what a rich
Mm.
person thing is? Oh, should I share this or should I write it down?
No, write it down.
Write it down.
I need
Write
you
it
to
down.
understand that this is good because Brandon came up with them, so
Mhm.
you know that half of them are totally off the wall.
I mean,
incredible.
half of them we did say, Brandon, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Again,
So-
if you listen to this after party halfway through and you've not listened to the Patreon, this is your reason. Okay.
There's a preview. There is a preview in
Yep.
the feed. Listen to it. If you're excited about the premise, then just give us $5. Give us $5 one time.
One time.
One
One
time.
time.
I promise.
Just Venmo Eric directly.
Venmo
Don't
me
do that.
$5.
Don't do
Don't
that.
do
Our
that.
taxes will get very complicated. Don't do that. All right, folks, on to the beginning of the Mango Crossing arc, which I find delightful. I have been using the mango emoji quite a lot recently. It's very fun. And we got some incredible items from Gloria.
Yeah.
Julia, Brandon, how did you feel about your fun armor and potato, respectively?
Obviously, I loved them.
Yeah, Titusel, I love having a hot potato that I can, just like toss at unsuspecting opponents or just like drop on something flammable or like make a hole in something. This is like, honestly, if I were to ask for something in real life that was like mythical and magical, it would be this.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's just fun.
It was pretty fun. Again, we talk about this a lot about how all three of you have different play styles, but it was really fun, like making a late game item to encourage certain of those things. This is also part of the absolute insanity I was in, and you can tell, as we talked about in the previous after party, we recorded so many of these episodes back to back that I actually remembered what happened in the last episode and immediately did it. So the hot potato was something Brandon said, and I'm like, yeah, we're doing that. That's awesome. I love that.
I think there's a great question about the process of making these items, right?
There is from Torbo the Scald. Eric, did you design Gloria's items for the players with their characters more in mind or the players behind them? I'm thinking of Cammie's dimensional T-chat ability and how Julia would use it, but I think the question works for all the items and players.
Yeah.
Well, I asked all of them what they wanted and they told me, and then I had to make some choices about what it was. And I wonder if you
Yeah.
can imagine what the three of my friends here all asked for. Amanda was like, I don't know, something cool. That'd be nice. I don't know, something neat. Like, what if I had like a little scope on my bow? That'd be nice. And then Julia was like, I never want to lose ever again. I never want to lose. I never want to lose a dice roll ever again. Make it fix that. And then Brandon was like, "Here's some wacky ideas."
I'm just trying to scroll up to see what exactly we each asked for, which I think is kind of funny.
Well, mine are in a DM, so.
Okay, so if you could read yours, then Brandon, I would appreciate it. But I'm gonna read Amanda and mine's, I believe.
Yeah, Brandon gave me a few ideas, and some of them were really, really insane and broken. Which is again, is like Brandon just throws them all out. Brandon asked for a Pokeball so he could capture creatures in a bomb.
Would be
Cool.
great.
Yeah, I wanted it to be something with like a bomb casing, right? So yeah, I had like a Pokeball that could capture creatures inside it, or I just have a little guy inside of one, which was like I was thinking of a Bartlett style thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The hot potato, something I'm reading Lord of the Rings again and watching Rings of Power. So the Palantir, which is like a crystal ball that lets me see what's happening in the present somewhere else, which would be
Cool.
fun. Could be fun.
That's just scrying, baby.
That's just scrying. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. And then a proximity bomb instead of just a time bomb would be cool.
I was able to fold that in, which I was really happy about. Like with the hot potato, I was just like, all right, let's give Brandon as many choices as possible with this thing. Like I really gave a lot of detail of the things you could do with it, because I know you're going to juke me and do something crazy with it, like a speed runner doing Legend of Zelda. You're gonna do something absolutely insane, and
I'm just gonna eat it.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited about it. Like, who knows? This thing gets hot. Do whatever you want with it. There's a bunch of different ways to soup it up, and we'll have a discussion when that happens. It's kind of funny. I realized that a lot of the things you asked for were kind of traditional D&D stuff. Like not the proximity bomb for sure, but like the Planeteer just being able to scry. That's such like a bog standard right from the book sort of thing. And the Pokeball, ridiculous, but summoning something to be your aid is actually something I found a lot when I was trying to look up if anyone had done something like a fire elemental stone before. But it was all like, oh yeah, a fire elemental monster comes to your aid. I'm like, fuck that. That's so boring.
Yeah.
Let's put more minis on the table. Shut up. Hey, wizards, shut up.
Because I didn't know what I wanted, and I think you two had ideas right away, and I didn't. So I did a bunch of looking up of legendary items and other ideas, and just picked some stuff that I saw was cool.
Yeah. I have both of mine and Amanda's messages. I'll start with Amanda. She said, I want an item from Gloria that can improve my accuracy. For flavor, I'm thinking a sighting scope on the crossbow. Ideally, I'd have a certain number of charges per long rest, or maybe it just improves my accuracy overall.
So as you can tell, I'm fucking tired of not rolling crits on 18, 19, or 20, as is pretty much one of the reasons why I chose this class. But Eric did point out, I think very fairly, that does kind of mess with like the fundamental thing about rolling to hit.
And because you get to roll twice, like, that's the whole point for you.
I already have 2 attacks.
I think it's for being able to give you something you couldn't even conceive of was really nice. And when I showed it to some other people, I showed it to Misha and I showed it to my friend Jeff. They're like, this is like multi-omni slash. This is so broken. I'm like, yeah, I know. I want to see what happens. That's why there's only 3 of them. I made it really clear that Gloria didn't make these. That Gloria was gifted to them and was like, I don't know what to do with it. And they gave it to Troy. So it's like there's only 3 in existence. So I'm very excited for Amanda to like pick and choose what to do here. So with Brandon, I'm like, you're playing this like it's an open world video game. Go off, King. Do whatever you want. With Amanda, it's like I want to give you the mechanics you might not even have known as possible. Like, here you go, do this. And with Julia, my little power gamer gremlin, I'm like, I can't give you the thing you want because that's broken. I cannot do it. I'm not gonna. The one thing I have to resist your insane, because again, you're spellcaster here, the most broken thing in Dungeons and Dragons, especially because you can do them without even with your cackles and with your hexes and your grand hexes. I can't let you do that. So I gave you a little breakable frog so you can do it one time, and instead I gave you something else.
Where did the frog come from, Eric? The idea of the frog.
Asking.
Frogs are cute.
Frogs are neat, I think.
I just think they're neat.
It was fun coming up with like a cape that had a bunch of different uses, and of course something tea related. So like a tea mat was my idea.
That was very cool.
And I like the idea that like Gloria, because Gloria had such a life before this. She's like, I've been holding on to this weird ingot for a long time. I think you're going to be able to do something with it. So here you go. And then I'm making like a chainmail out of it kind of worked really nicely. And just like, I don't know, when you have a little stuff at the end, you make a frog.
Yeah.
Hurry.
Well, can we talk about the tea mat aspect of my item? Because the things that I had specifically requested were like some plus to AC, I hate being hit, and then allowing something that allows me to impose disadvantage on a saving throw against my magic.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna let you do that constantly. No.
That's fine.
Only one time.
That's okay. I'll save it for a very important special thing, like when we modified Edie's memory. Like, that's the kind of, like, one where I'm like, if this fails, this fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious as to where the idea of the, like, tea ceremony, I can pull you to the side for, at least a round kind of thing came from.
I guess I was thinking a lot about the origins of Cammy all the way back to the first few episodes, and we were exploring these classes from Vault of Spire of Secrets by wherever third-party Dungeons and Dragons stuff are sold. How how much he used Peacebound in the beginning, and how that was always, it was like control, but not through violence. It was almost through like forced pacifism, and this is how it felt. Connecting a powerful endgame item with those origins felt very important to me, and being able to pull that all together with a tea ceremony, I thought felt very interesting. It was also fun that like this is an endgame thing, so it was like you earned the demi-plane. To me, like, I know that's such like a D&D thing, like go into this pocket. I mean, that's literally what the bag of holding is. It's a little demi-plane in there, but it's almost like you pulling them off the board for a second. And since rounds of combat are only 6 seconds, I thought it was more interesting than that. It's like, can you engage this person who wants to fight you in conversation for 30 seconds enough that it will change the tide of battle? I think so. We also, because Julia reads Valdez so much, and I also do, there were 2 spells in Valdez that inspired this. One was like a chronomancer spell where you basically get like you get like a second just to look around.
Yeah, it's like a cantrip. I think I had it was an option for me when I did the War Mage for one of our one-shots.
Oh, yeah.
But it's called like, hold on, I'm going to look it up specifically, but it's called like take a second or something like that.
It was an option for Umbi too. One of the discoveries was like take some of the spells, and one of the spells was that one.
Yeah, it's called Moment to Think.
I love that one. And then I melded it with another spell that I've loved the entire time called Game of Fate, which is pretty much the same thing. You compel a creature within range to a non-magical game with vital consequences.
Brandon used that in the Camp-Paign one shot that we just released as well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's crazy. But basically, like, the loser of the game, you can choose any game, and it's almost, I love a game within a game sort of thing. And the loser of the game takes 6d6 psychic damage, but you can bet anything outside of just being hurt like that. And level 6 enchantment, doing it once like that felt very powerful, and it was fun to like add it to Kimmy's arsenal.
Hell yeah.
Can't wait to see it get used.
Yeah.
And of course, nothing else of note happens in episode 55.
No. I had a question about this episode. What a lovely time in this episode. Wow, such a high level. What experienced players I have. Oh, they have new items. Oh my gosh, they're off to do endgame content. Absolutely incredible. And what happens? They get ambushed at a convenience store.
Listen,
I don't
Eric.
remember it going down like that.
So my recollection of the recording was like, oh man, I was about to have Bartlett do a flyover and see the situation before we landed. And when I listened back when I was editing, what happened was we do this thing because we're practiced at podcasting where like, I think I stepped on someone. Like I started talking, someone else was talking. So one person just stops talking so the other person can finish their thought and then we'll come back to the other thought. But that's just like a podcasting thing. So what happened was that you had said that and I said, well, I would like to, and then someone else started saying an idea, so I stopped talking, and then we just started moving forward. So I was like, it's not a big deal. We'll just move forward. So I was an inch away from having Bartlett find these fucking DK cruise ships.
Oh, God.
We fucked up.
But that wouldn't be nearly as fun and end on a nice little cliffhanger where we know, but the audience does not, how precisely we're going to fuck up this guy's lovely rest stop.
I'm sure it's going to be fine and nothing bad is going to happen
I would
whatsoever.
never hurt this man.
No.
Speaking of inspirations, it was really fun to bring some action movie vibes into this. Like, this felt like some John Wick, Kung Fu sort of like sort of thing, some real tense. Being in a normal place in a heightened action movie situation felt really good to me, and I that's why I really liked it. Because I mean, like, or even like, what's the best way to describe this? It's like a regular life thing is in an incredibly strange location, and then the heightened action comes there. It's like a convenience store on the edge of this really weird place, and there's a regular person in there with regular people. That's the family who came from the Book Depository Park, and then government agents walk in, and then it all kind of breaks bad. I was very excited about how that shook out.
Just like in The Fugitive.
Just like in The Fugitive, exactly.
SaveMan97 asked something that was one of my favorite parts of this episode, which is we finally got wanted posters for the crew, but what were their bounties? I was picturing all the scenes from One Piece where they celebrate their bounties. And then
That's what I was
as
thinking about.
a secondary One Piece question, Sebelicious said, how much was the compost facility inspired by Impel Down?
Impel Down.
Impel Down.
So the first thing, yeah, that was 100. I love the bounties. The bounty stuff that happens in One Piece, where they're all like comparing how much money it is that like they're gonna be taken in for, and how they all have like bad photos. Someone like doesn't have a photo of them, so like a guard had to draw a bad picture of them, and it looks terrible. But I didn't want to get stuck on that, so I kind of just like moved past the price. So I wasn't really sure if this was in doubloons or it was in amber. I couldn't even figure out like what currency they would get paid in. I didn't even know.
But more importantly, whatever the currency was, who was worth the most?
Yeah, so players,
that's the most important to us.
Players, let's decide. So I think that
Havana Tropicana was the most expensive.
Fuck!
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He's a male doctor. That's so
Yeah,
rare.
people know about him.
It's like a shiny Pokemon.
So let's say that the ruler or rulers of your country set your bounty. I think Troy's would be that a member of Hyperion's like royal retinue would kill your most annoying sibling. I think that would be the reward.
I think the reward for Umbi is like a microwave dinner and some peace and quiet. Like,
it's good.
It's
good.
The people of Overstock are like, we don't believe in bounties, but here's what you might find at your house later on.
Mm-hmm. I think Cammy's, if it is from open fields, is just like peace of mind.
Yeah.
You did the right thing.
Yeah. Knowing that you did the right thing.
You got karma points, and that's ultimately what it comes down to.
That's true.
I'm trying to think of who would be the most expensive here, because the three of you, when you zoom out and you go out of context, is like, okay, disgraced member of the royal family, Troy Riptide, former senator turned eco-terrorist, Umbi, and like the worst thing possible to open fields is probably Cammy, like, right? Like orphan ruffian turned terrible witch magician. That's all up there pretty high. I really don't know who's the most expensive, because you could make arguments depending on who you're talking to, that like this is each one of you are such a large threat to your country's way of life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Havana Tropicana, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I love the idea. It would either be, I mean, obviously because this is an anime and JRPG, Havana would either be like $1 or by far and away the most expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's like, it's one of those ones where it's like, you know how it says like reward, but it's like call to contact and like find out what the reward is? That would be Havana, and then it could go either way.
Absolutely.
The amount of knowledge of wanted posters that you have, Julia, is concerning to me.
I don't have a ton. I've seen a lot of
I have the regular
seen a lot
amount.
of movies.
I have the regular amount, Brandon.
Yeah.
In regards to Compost, and as a One Piece reference to Impel Down, I didn't realize actually wasn't as much of an inspiration, but I checked it again. It is an underwater prison facility for the worst criminals and pirates. But like I didn't put that together. I just thought it was cool. I was more taking inspiration from the Atlantis thing, which we now know of a city then being turned into a prison. I thought that would have been really cool. The thing about Impel Down, it's pretty much just Dante's Inferno. How bad of a criminal you are, you have a different level has different types of punishment, which is kind of funny based on like your sin. So I think that's kind of funny.
I once saw a like art exhibit of illustrations of Dante's Inferno at like a Dante museum, and they were fucked up. And I walked around, I was like, I don't know what I expected, but these drawings are really fucked up.
I'm disturbed.
Pretty bad.
I wish there was a man from history walking me through it. That would make me feel a lot better. I wish Abraham Lincoln was here showing this to me.
Yeah, it was a lot. Then I ate a pupusa and it was better.
That's good. That's good.
And Plato was there. And Plato was like, good job, right?
And then Plato and I had chicha. So here's a question from Trev and Sam. Long time, first time. What inspired Brandon's deep dive into his diamond knot/key theory?
I don't remember what this was in reference to, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to respond, Brandon.
I did it in character as Umbi, but like my whole theory of like the salmon doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me look up what you wrote.
And it's just to keep the like pirates busy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's actually true. I don't get that vibe from the way that Erica told the story, but I think it's a possibility. And yeah, I think it was just me vibing off what Eric said at the end of the episode prior to that Umbi speech. Because then I thought about it when we stopped recording, and I was like, what if this happens? Because I wrote it in Slack. And then I just brought it up as Umbi to see what the other characters think about it. But I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think it's going to actually happen.
Okay, here's what Brandon said. The government diverted the cascade for some reason to do something they want with it, and in order to keep people from actually trying to investigate and come together to solve the problem, they put out the key rhyme to keep people occupied and going after magic instead of finding a real solution. So there is no salmon, but someone on the inside had stolen the keys to the cascade diversion machine, so they put out the salmon legend so pirates would find and bring them the keys. I think it's a fair theory, especially after everything that happened at the end of the Compost arc.
The weak point is that there has to be someone on the inside or some other entity that would have dispersed the keys, like stolen the keys somehow.
I mean, that's fair because Dai is like a government agent, and so is Edie.
Yeah.
Like, that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not confirming or denying, but it's an interesting theory, and I'm about it. Someone would have that conspiracy theory, for sure.
I mean, yeah. That's why Umbi has to wear a tinfoil hat now.
The question surgeon, Michelle Spurgeon, would like to know. If the cascade comes back, what do you think the gang will do? Would the sea still be accessible, or would they have to go back on land? Do you guys think there really is a salmon? There seemed to be a bit of doubt in the last few episodes.
I think Umbi, when the cascade comes back, and he is proven right about the water shortage issues, he's going to go back to Overstock and become the most powerful monarch the world has ever seen.
Fuck.
Hell yeah.
Your Dr. Radish is showing, my guy.
That is such IP, like 20 years after the show is finished nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's also assuming that he survives to get to that point.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
What would Cammy do, and what does Julia think?
I think I'm going to answer that question differently than how you asked it, which is I don't know what Cammy would do, and Julia, think that Cammy so believes in the salmon, like wholeheartedly believes in the salmon. I know that doesn't really answer either of the questions that you asked, but that's what I know enough to answer for you.
I mean, I would believe in the salmon too if Baba Yaga was like my aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I guess this stuff's real for sure.
Sure.
I mean, I think Umbi also believes in the salmon. I think we all, I don't want to speak for Troy, but I think we all do. We have to in order to like want to figure this out or want to do this thing this badly, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because, I mean, that's those of you who are pure of heart, but I think something that we've been turning over a little bit, or I know that I've been pushing, is like a lot of people saw this as an opportunity to do whatever.
Yes.
So it's like the core idea kind of, I mean, it's in a real sort of like crusade sort of way. Yeah, we were all doing this for Christianity, but why were we really doing it, right? Like, what are we really doing this for? If there's a worldwide hunt for something, I guess you're going to do it instead of doing your boring life. Or using chaos as a ladder sort of way, or influencing or applying your government powers, or just doing whatever. There's plenty of reasons to have a pirate, even if like the consensus is supposed to be we're all looking for the keys.
Right.
Yeah.
What about Troy?
I don't know what he would do. I'd probably try to go back to his old life and then be very surprised when he no longer is like welcome to work at the palace. No. He I think he'd try to learn more about the separatists. I think he'd try to, talk to people in the crags, kind of figure out what they want. That isn't just sort of a violent monarchy being thrown out every few years. And I think he's so used to things that he thought being wrong that it would not faze him whatsoever if the salmon was not a creature and was instead, one of those metaphor things or whatever. So
It's an old man, just like Umbi.
Doesn't really fully matter, but he knows we got to get the keys to get to it, and then something else will happen. The details don't matter.
As for me, the person Brandon, I think there is a salmon, but what a salmon is up for debate.
What if it were a acronym like Salmon the Robot in Campaign 1?
Yes.
Mm.
Super altruistic
Loving.
man. Oh no?
Oh no. Yeah, because it's a man, we're like, oh no, not a man.
There's a W at the end of salmon. It's a silent W that's wishes.
All right, folks, here's a question from Tinkerbeast. What's your favorite key, and why is it the key with the gaze? I do
It
love
is
the key with the gaze. I miss
Key with the
them.
gaze?
Yeah.
I miss them.
We don't know what the fun thing about the sky key is, unfortunately.
No, I'm excited. I want to meet that one.
Yeah. I really like all the keys. I do. I know we haven't had a lot of time with the cloud key, with the sky key. But I really like all of them. I thought it was so fun when I got to tell you that there were a lot of keys. there were a lot of maize keys because they kept growing out of corn.
My heart wants to love that one, A, because I love those tiny little corns that you get in stir fry, but B, because I feel like someone has to love the really common one, and I feel like that's my job.
Yeah, I think I loved it until I realized how devalued it was, and then I was like, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of you, and I thought I would be able to tempt people more with the key that still hurts, but I guess it's just sitting there.
You tempted Troy. You tempted Troy.
I think the only thing that's stopping Troy is his crewmates.
Yes.
So.
It was literally Cammy being like, no.
It would be so cool if Troy was a pirate, but instead of a peg leg, it was the key. That would be tight as hell. Come on.
Yeah, that would be fucked up, though. We don't want to dismember Troy just for the sake of being cool.
Troy's like, I've been dismembered. Two of my members already not good.
I done did have hook hand. I done did.
All we have to do is wait for the necrosis, the natural necrosis of Umbi's leg to
Yeah.
take hold, and then he'll replace it.
That's right.
I just had a thought. I was like, when did Umbi get diabetes?
I did too.
I was like, what
And
do
then
you
I thought, Amanda,
mean?
that's an inside thought. That's an inside thought for later. Here's a question from Shelby. I'm doing some re-listening in preparation for the end game. And you win, Eric. You planted, pun intended, the location of the underwater prison / salmon all the way back during the Bullseye Games nerd tour. I gasped. If I interpreted correctly, during the nerd tour, Jalambi / Jason.
Amanda named the nerd tour grasshopper Jalambi. I checked it.
Right.
That sounds like me. Explains that the current builder, who is Beetle Constructor Emeritus, Shelby says, went to water in the middle of the Cascade to start the search for the salmon, and all he reported back that he found was water. I interpreted that as the builder went and found the South Compost / the salmon there, sunk it with the help of the diamond knot, then told everybody there was nothing there but water, which was technically true. I might be reading too far in, but that was my thought. It's pretty good.
Where the fuck did Jalambi come out of your brain?
I remember I checked this because Shelby posted in the Discord, and I looked at the transcript, and I'm like, all right, because Cammy went on this nerd tour to look at like the stadium and like how the Bullseye games were put together, and Brandon, who was a radish, and Amanda, who was a potato, was also there.
Right.
So while we were doing this, I was like, all right, Amanda, why don't you name the grasshopper? And you were like, Jalambi. And I'm like, how do you spell that? And you're like, it's spelled the way that it sounds.
I feel like the last 2 years of our content lives, like not the company, but the content lives have been like so heightened by Amanda's new platitude of don't think, just say.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
First thought, best thought.
Ever since I sat in the unfinished kitchen of Julia's home and said, I think I want to play someone called Troy Riptide. It's
And
all
I
just
said,
been,
"Fuck."
it's just been off the dome. It's just been off the dome. It's just first thought, best thought. I get all of that attitude out here, and then I am a careful and attentive manager in the rest of my life.
So the grasshopper was talking about how someone asked about the middle of Vertistello and how like why the Great Salt Sea was in the middle of the Bialy, and the grasshopper was saying actually people immediately assumed that the salmon would be in the direct center of the world, because also that's like how the gravity of Vertistello works, and they have to have poles in that sort of way. But turns out people went there and it wasn't there, because that was the first place everyone looked, was the direct middle of Vertistello once the Cascade dried up. And it's a little bit complicated, but that, Shelby, you're not exactly correct, but you're picking up on something that I was talking about. I think that the thing we talked about of like the world government did blow up South Compost City and push it into the Cascade, that happened. it didn't happen at the same time. It's not that much of a conspiracy. But I did want to posit that, like, people have been looking for the salmon, quote unquote, looking for the salmon for a very long time. And there's bits and pieces of true or not true information out there. And I think that you hit on something that I was teasing, that, like, there is a tangible understanding of our world through, like, if everyone's life revolves around pursuing a myth, there has to be some science and cartography behind it, right? So you did hit on it a little bit, and I think it is related to the fact that, like, it's weird it took 50 years scouring a not that big, relatively, sea/ocean, and no one's found it yet. Like, it is a little weird. You're right. So I think that I was putting that out there, that it wasn't as simple as everyone thought. That, like, the salmon is in a cave that's submerged and around a government facility is probably something that people weren't thinking when they first saw the drought stones and heard the call of the keys.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question from Christian the Just Okay. Let me get those Bucky's Orders crew. What's your favorite thing from there?
I've been there once. It was the wall of jerky, I guess. I don't know.
I loved the variety and volume of trail mixes.
I like that they make a really good brisket sandwich for you in front of you. I find that really wild at a gas station.
And Brandon, because you are a Bucky's hater, which is your right, being from Texas, here's a question for you specifically that I'm assigning you from Saved Man 97.
It's just a fucking gas station!
Okay.
It's a pretty nice gas station, though, guy.
So Saved Man wants to know what you think the mascot for the last store would be.
Ooh.
For the one in World, right? The convenience store outside the Mango Crossing that has all the
Last rest
information
stop
that
you'll
you
need.
Yeah.
I mean, the immediate answer is like the Tortango, but what's a fun little guy that's like, is it just like a parrot? Is it just like, or like a parakeet? That's just like,
Brandon, what could the Tortango wear that would make him relatable?
Pants.
Which way?
Bottom half.
Bottom half,
Okay. But bottom half,
latitudinally.
like, leg? Or
Well, standing Tortango, but like
Okay.
kind of awkwardly standing, like
Ah,
like a dinosaur, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
"Rah," and then
like a
bottom
T-Rex
half.
with pants. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's a
T-Rex with
mango.
pants.
nice.
Yeah.
Is there a little
Yeah.
hole for the tail?
I did not think that's where you were going to say.
Is there a little hole for the tail?
But yes,
Is there a little hole ... for the tail?
For the tail?
I said it right in a row. I said it right in a row.
Oh God. I do think the easy answer is Tortango, but I think it's funnier if it's not.
Yeah,
I do
agree.
like it's a parakeet that's just like, ask an important question.
Yeah.
It's a parakeet, but it's also a coconut.
Yeah,
A pear of coconut.
that's pretty
a coconut. A coca-keet.
Coca-keet.
cool. Coca-keet is good. I like the idea that it's just a coconut with like bird feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically like a kiwi, the bird,
Yeah, yeah.
except it's a coconut and it's a bird.
I like
And
that.
it would say something like,
Long beak.
even I can't fly past this point.
Yeah,
or
for
something like
sure.
that, you know?
Incredible.
I like that a lot.
Even I can't fly past these prices. That's
Yeah.
There
there
it
you
is.
go.
Julia, should you write Trader Joe's copy? Don't quit, but, I'm just saying. All right, speaking of portmanteaus, let's move to Spoil the Plank, shall we?
Yar.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yar.
Sebalicious wants to
Yar.
know, when
Yar.
will Giumbi, that'd be Gloria plus Umbi, happen? I felt a vibe there in the last few episodes.
I think it should be Glumby. I
It
think
should
we've
be
talked about
Glumby.
this in the past, but it's Glumby.
Glumby.
It should be Glumby, and I encourage your fananins. That's your fan cannons. But unfortunately,
Banananan?
Oh, you know what? I
the-
do think that's what Seb wrote. I misread the L as a capital I. That's stupid.
Oh, I did
English.
too. I did too.
Glumby.
I like how you turn it to a
Glumby.
word like Giada.
Giumbi.
Glumby de Laurentiis.
Giumbi.
Hollywood
Well, we can't
royalty.
cut that now. Got to keep this in there.
Giumbi has a cooking show that takes him through. I was trying to figure out what country would have a form of Italy, and I can't figure it out.
I just like the idea that it's
Hot
Umbi,
House?
that it's like Umbi and Stanley Tucci driving through.
That's exactly
Italy.
what I was thinking
Uh-huh.
of.
Yeah.
Now, Stanley Tucci would want to fuck Umbi, but Umbi would not be interested.
Wow.
And unfortunately, Umbi has too much respect for Gloria to think of her in that way.
Hey, Brandon,
you
do you
know?
want to role play geriatric romance? Would that be good for you?
Would that be
Yeah,
good for you?
right now. You want to do it right
yeah,
now?
let's just get it out of our systems.
I mean, people can just watch The Golden Bachelor instead.
Yeah, it's true, but you guys should watch The Golden Bachelorette.
It's very sweet.
Guys, can one of you please write a comic where Umbi is the Golden Bachelor? That would be so funny. I would
Someone
love
made
that.
the art
Campaign 3
for it
fan art.
already?
Yeah.
But I need a comic. I need dialogue, you know?
Okay.
We can expand on it. That was so good. I forgot about that.
So good.
That was sick.
So good. Ooh, I think I do need, though, Gloria as Golden Bachelorette. We'll work
Yeah.
on that.
It's
Please.
back-to-back seasons, yeah.
Blue Spectre says, have you already played the end game? How many weeks will you already know what the salmon is before we do? And the answer is, Blue Spectre, we don't know. We don't know yet.
Who can say?
Yeah.
A literal who can say.
We are a few weeks ahead. We lost it because of the summer, and now we're getting this, hence my insanity. We are going back to having a backlog, so we will be a few weeks ahead of you. But we won't tell you, and we'll know, and you won't know. Is that bad?
Yeah. It's terrible.
Just think about it. You're sitting there like a fucking plebeian, not knowing what the salmon is, while us four are over here just knowing what the salmon is for weeks.
Now, Brandon, I
For
don't
weeks.
usually prescribe content notes, but these are the economic powerhouse of our company is the listeners.
You can't just call the listener plebes.
Oh, I can and I will.
Don't worry. I'm going to send Umbi out of the room and just tell Cammy and Troy about this.
Fuck yeah.
I'm like,
We're going
Brandon.
to split the party and be like, all right, Umbi, whatever you want to do, go do it. Troy, let's go get the salmon.
All right. Oh, so one of Umbi's teleportation bombs goes off and sends him 2 miles away. Weird. All right. So, Brandon, get off the call, and then we're just going to keep going after that.
You're in space, floaty, without air? Weird.
But you did find New Mexico? Weird.
Oh, my God. So funny.
Or, like EP Fella suggests, was Campaign 3 Orello's puppet show all along? Incredible headcanon.
This is a real shout out to the person who said that Campaign 2 was in a simulation for the entire time and said it all the time.
We respect you.
We respect you so much.
Now, was Campaign 3 just the Campaign 2.5, the Camp-Paigns lunchtime, where kids were playing with fruit and acting out Campaign 3?
It's actually a great idea.
Honestly, this is probably closer to Milo having a dream and then him trying to say it, and everyone's like, "This is so boring."
and you were a weird, stinky old pawpaw fruit. Okay,
Yeah,
guy.
that sounds right.
And Zach
Actually,
is like,
that
that's
makes
not
sense.
nice.
Be nice to my friend Milo.
He keeps turning to his cat and he's like, "And you weren't there! And you weren't there!"
You were a parrot, but you could only say the words that I said. Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really good, Julia.
Oh, God. The pendulum swung so hard from having an autonomous NPC to you are my creation who only says what I say.
Oh, I love that. That's so good.
God.
We have a few more good questions that I am going to be saving for a future after party. So if we didn't get to yours today, don't be afeared. But hey, here is one that I wrote down on some note paper and just got delivered to me in person. Hey guys, remember how you said in the spring that you were designing dice? Is that still happening? And will there perhaps be a special announcement next week on Julia's birthday, Tuesday, October 8th?
What?
Is that not?
We can't spoil the plank. We can't say it.
Oh, okay.
We can't say.
All right,
We
well,
can't
We have
say.
to jump into the water if we spoil the plank. So.
Yar. Remember when I said we were going to have a bunch of stuff to sell at some point? We were going to have like 3 things to sell. That's true. It's just all happening. It's all happening this year. It's all happening.
It's all happening, baby.
Mhm,
Can't wait.
It's all happening.
It's all happening.
It's going to be good.
All right, folks, say goodbye and thank you to our kind listeners who are exactly as bougie or plebeian as they so self-identify.
Goodbye, you little shits.
Later.
Let me rest. Please. Let me lay down.
May your rolls trend ever upward. Bye.
I'll sing you a song.